Hello and welcome back to the Nasty Metal Production channel here at YouTube, and welcome to another Album of the Week episode. This is episode number 216. Today I am moving away from the metal to honor one of music's influential albums that at times is seen as an influence on heavy metal. It's Tres Hombres, which I think it's either Spanish or Mexican, but it means three men. The iconic third album for the legendary ZZ Top, released back on July 26, 1973 via the London Records label. This past week saw this reach 50 years old. So, with all that said, let's begin. With two albums being under this little trio from Houston, Texas's belt, with Rio Grande Mud getting some wider attention, but none of that would be compared to what comes next. By 1973, still keeping producer Bill Ham, they embark on recording their third record. They'd record at Bryan Studios, then head to Memphis, Tennessee. I don't know where Bryan Studios is actually located at. I don't know. Is it located in Tennessee as well? Either way, they head to Memphis, Tennessee to record at Ardent Studios, and by July 26, Tres Hombres struts its way into the homes of everyone. So, featuring 10 tracks, clocking in at the length of 33 minutes and 26 seconds, these 10 tracks are, well, beginning with Waiting for the Bus, Jesus Just Left Chicago, Beer Drinkers and Hellraisers, Master of Sparks, Hot Blue and Righteous, Move Me On Down the Line, Precious and Grace, LaGrange, Chic, and then, Have You Heard? So there you go. There's your 10 tracks. This practically reads like a greatest hits package. This was their first major hit record well before the smash hit that would be Eliminator. I really don't need to go into greater depths of discussing this album, but I'll instead just run you through my relationship with this stone cold classic. By 2002, I was introduced to ZZ Top through my mom's CD of their 1990 album, Recycler. Then by 2004, it was the Greatest Hits CD. While that had some 70s era material on it, it wasn't enough for me to fully digest. Also, that same year in 2004, October to be exact, I actually caught ZZ Top live at the fair here in Fresno. But it was when my dad, who ended up borrowing the 6-pack CD set from one of his friends at work, it included their 70s output, sadly in remixed form. But at the time, it was quite different, yet seemed more appealing to me. But years later, when I started hearing more about the original mixes, I began getting more intrigued. But it wasn't till I knew that the only way to obtain the albums in their original state was to get original pressings, that being on record. And so all I had was my dad's original pressing of Tres Hombres, though in coverless form due to the cover being all jacked up and had to get tossed into the trash, which I found after cleaning out the old condo inside a box full of other records. So, as I got back to my home in Susanville, now my chance to finally hear this classic in its original form, it felt like I was hearing this album for the very first time again. The organic, natural recording just sounded more lifelike, if anything, sounding more heavier than the plastic-sounding remix which was done to capitalize on ZZ Top's success with Eliminator and Afterburner. You just can't go wrong with the heavy blues jams of Waiting for the Bus, Master of Sparks, Precious and Grace, and the mega hit that is LaGrange. Of course, the hardest rocking songs on this one is actually with Beer Drinkers and Hellraisers, which would get covered by Motorhead. Of course, there are the pure blues jams like Jesus Just Left Chicago and Have You Heard? Then of course, there is the soulful gospel of Hot Blue and Righteous, and even the Stones-like rocker that is Move Me On Down the Line. Chic is pretty experimental, straight southern Texas groove sound there. Not quite country though. This was just a very fun album to jam to, and hearing the original mix and recording was pure bliss to me. Of course, in 2015, the same year that I ended up bringing home the original vinyl pressing in completely coverless form, I ended up, of course, that same year, got the complete studio albums collection, 1970 to 1990 box set, which, of course, reinstated the original mixes for all of their 70s classics for the very first time on CD, with the exceptions probably being Fandango and Tres Hombres, because sometime in, the mid-2000s, Rhino Records ended up finally doing remasters of the original mixes, which added, I think, some 3 live tracks as bonus tracks for their remaster of Tres Hombres. Of course, in here, they're probably just using the same remasters for Tres Hombres still. Either way, no matter what, the minute I found out that the original mixes were on CD, and saw that, especially mostly for the fact of the first album, Rio Grande Mud, Tejas. The minute I found out that those albums were remastered from the original mixes, I had to get the set to begin with. So yeah, I got the set that very same year. So it was awesome. Tres Hombres is an immortal classic that has finally reached 50 years old. That really is all that needs to be said. For those who have spent countless of years living with this album, whether they are positive or negative, you can leave them all in the comment section below. But if you haven't, if you love 70s heavy blues or are curious about hearing the roots of stuff, check it out. So with that, this is Heavy Thrash Head saying I'm out, and I'll see you all later. Take care, everyone.